Hare Krishna, everybody, welcome. So we continue the journey on the 9th chapter. So today we will be covering 9.16 to 9.19. So before we begin, I will say the prayers to Guru and God, and then I'll play the Guru mantra. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakya Chakshurum Ilitamena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudeva. Hare Krishna.
गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुर्साक्षात् परब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः.
Hare Krishna. Okay, I'll play the shlokas. Ready?
अहं क्रतुरहं यज्ञः स्वधाहमहमौषधम् मन्त्रोऽहमहमेवाज्यमहमग्निरहं हुतम् पितामहस्य जगतो माता धाता पितामहः वेद्यं पवित्रमोङ्कार ऋक्सामयजुरेव च गतिर्भर्ता प्रभुः साक्षी निवासः शरणं सुहृत् प्रभवः प्रलयस्थानं निधानं बीजमव्ययम् तपाम्यहमहं वश्यं निगृह्णाम्युत्सृजामि च अमृतं चैव मृत्युश्च सदसच्चाहमर्जुन.
Hare Krishna. So Krishna is now further explaining his magnificence. I hope you all remember in the 4th chapter, Krishna said something similar. Krishna said, Brahmarpanam, Brahmahavir, Brahmagnau, Brahmana Hutam, Brahmaiva Tena Gantavyam, Brahma Karma Samadhinaha. Very similar to what he is saying here, where he said the offering is Brahman, the instrument which is used for offering is also Brahman, the act of offering is Brahman, and the sacrificial fire is also. And Krishna is equating himself with Brahman, so it's pretty much on similar lines. So in 9.16, he says that he is the various elements of all sacrifices. Now let us see what are all the different things he is calling out, because each of them has a very significant meaning on why he is calling it out. So the first thing he says is, I am Kratu. What is Kratu? Kratu is the rituals prescribed in the Shruti scriptures. Did you all get a chance to go through the document I had sent on Shruti and Smriti? Does anybody want to quickly say what is a Shruti and what is Smriti?
Hare Krishna. Just briefly, Shruti is that which is heard, that what is heard. That is, it is from a divine origin. The knowledge, what
Yes.
we hear is actually which is revealed to sages with during their intense meditation.
Yes.
That is directly.
Yes.
And Smriti is what is remembered, recollected. Shruti's example is like Vedas, Upanishads, and Smriti is like what is recollected and written, like Puranas.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. So basically, Smriti is documentation of what has happened, and based on what has happened, somebody is remembering the happenings and they are documenting it. Okay, so for example, Mahabharata is a Smriti, whereas Shruti is that which directly came, cosmic download. So the most profound or most original Shruti is the Vedas. And of course, there are a lot of texts that came from Vedas, like you have Brahmanas and you have Aranyakas, and so on and so forth. But so you get the idea. So the first thing Krishna is saying is Kratu. I am Kratu means these are the rituals which are prescribed in the Shruti scriptures, like Vedas. So these rituals, they are not just ceremonial, but it's a very deep concept in those Vedic scriptures. Is when they are talking about yagyas, they are not just talking about something mechanical somebody does. It's a very profound act of, first of all, like if you remember, we discussed this many sessions ago, that we are all a microcosm. So for example, the earth has 70% water approximately. Our body also has approximately 70% water. If you look at an atom also has approximately 70-75% of space between the other things. So I mean, I'm not giving you the accurate numbers, but you get the idea. So that is why we say if we understand our own selves, we can understand God, because we are a microcosm of the bigger picture. So even in the Christian faith, that's why they say God created man in his image. So that's the whole idea. So these yagyas that are prescribed in the Vedas, the main purpose is to align us with the macrocosm, align with the universe, align with the bigger picture. That is the real purpose of those yagyas, the real purpose. So that is the first thing Krishna says he is. And then the second, Krishna says, I am yagya. What yagya? These are the yagyas which are detailed in the Smriti scriptures, like Dharma Shastras and all of that. So Krishna, he wants us to understand that he is not just the yagya, but is also the object of those yagyas. So he is telling us that when you perform sacrifices, don't forget the reason and don't forget the purpose. That is why he is calling this out. The third, he is saying, I am Swada, which are the offerings made to ancestors. Like some of us may know this, like we do something called a Shraddha during a particular period. This is an act of paying respect to our ancestors. But it is not just paying respect to ancestors. It is again acknowledging the cycle of life and death, acknowledging it, coming to terms with it, introspecting on it, and understanding that it is a continuous existence, is a continuity. It's a continuity of life, death, birth, death, birth, death. It's a continuous cycle, and we need to be mindful of that. So that is another aspect of those Shraddha ceremonies that we conduct. Third, Krishna says, I am Aushadam. We all know in Marathi it's called Aushad, means medicine. And in Sanskrit, Aushadam means the same thing, medicine. Why is Krishna saying I'm medicine? Krishna is telling us that he is the restorative force. He is not the medicine as such that you cannot hold a Tylenol and say, is this Krishna? Yeah, Krishna is there also. But what Krishna is actually saying is, a medicine heals us. But what actually heals us is the healing power. And that power is Krishna. So Krishna says, I am the restoring power, the healing power in medicines. Mantra. Then Krishna says, I am mantra. Mantras are vibrational energies. So in Vedic rituals, it's very important to understand the science of those mantras. And Krishna is here, when he says, I am a mantra, he is also asserting that he is the Om, the primal sound. We already discussed that, how Krishna is Om, which is pretty much the basis of creation of the universe. What it also means, there are two more things which you should understand from that when Krishna says I am mantra. One of that is, all the mantras, like the root mantra is Om, but all other mantras, they all lead to that only. In other words, they all lead to the same Supreme. And again, see, do you think we can just chant a mantra and magic will happen? Like you can go read, you can search on Google on the various mantras that people used in the past. There are some mantras that were used for getting a boy, getting a girl, or getting a wealth, or there is Kuber mantra. But do you really think you can take a Kuber mantra, chant, and tomorrow you become a Karodpati? No. So why? What is missing? Because the mantra as such is just a collection of words. It's not going to give us anything. First of all, we need to understand the science, the correct pronunciation. Then we have to understand the bhava. What should be the intent? And then we have to understand the technique. A lot of things are involved. But the most important, you have to have Krishna's blessings. Because the power of the mantra is Krishna. That is what Krishna is saying. I am that power of all the mantras. That is why in another episode, somebody was trying to curse Krishna. Somebody was threatening Krishna, saying, I'm going to curse you. And Krishna smiles and says, I am behind the power of a curse also. So how are you going to curse me? Because a curse needs my power to even work. Okay, after mantra, Krishna says, I am agyam. Agyam is ghee. The ghee that is offered in the sacrifices. There is a very profound kind of a connection between ghee. Like, why is Krishna saying I'm ghee? Because the deep meaning behind that, he's saying I am the purifier of sins, a nurturer of life. Because that ghee is what gives life to the fire. And the fire is a purifier. Fire purifies everything. So Krishna is here saying, I am the purifier and I am also the nurturer of life. Okay. And then he's saying, I am also the fire, Agni. What are the main things that comes to mind when we say Agni, especially as a Agni from the Yajna? The main things that should come to mind, first of all, purification. It's the absolute purifier. The second, destruction of ignorance. Because ignorance is always spoken as darkness. And knowledge and wisdom is spoken as light. And it is that fire which gives that light. So Krishna is talking about many aspects here. Purification, dispelling the ignorance, destroying the ignorance, providing the knowledge, wisdom, all of that. And finally, in that shloka, he says, I am Hutam. Hutam is the act of offering when we are in that sacrifice. When we are performing that yajna. So what does that mean? It means selfless surrender of ego and selfless surrender of our own desires. Like in the last session, you all again revised surrender. What does it mean to surrender? And Deepaji said one of the first thing is desire in alignment with God's will and don't desire against His will. So that is the whole thing here. When Krishna says, I am Hutam, I am the offering, which also means that we need to understand that aspect of what does offering mean. Offering is that surrender. The words don't matter, the deeds matter. Because when we do that, then we can get on the path of self-realization and unity with Brahman. So Krishna is declaring, he's saying, I am the essence of all ritualistic sacrifices, offerings. And this verse is also talking about non-duality, Advaita aspect of Vedanta philosophy, which is explaining the ultimate reality is singular. There is no two. There is no separation. It is all same. It's all one. That is the core Advaita philosophy. And if you extend that same Advaita philosophy, then you will understand that the individual soul is not really different from the Supreme Soul. We are under an illusion of separation, but we are not separate. There are a lot of very profound concepts, so I am trying to skim through them because we have limited time. But if anything interests you a lot, anything intrigues you, or if any place you think you need more explanation or you have doubts, feel free to ask me either now or at the end of the session. So Advaita Vedanta non-duality, you can find it in many places in Krishna's teachings. Krishna has been a big proponent of that. And even if you look at one of the Upanishads, Taittiriya Upanishad, which is part of Krishna Yajurveda, I've explained that also in that link I shared, is there are Vedas, and then in Vedas there is one Rig Veda, Yajurveda, Sama Veda, Atharva Veda. But there, if you look at Yajurveda itself has been classified. So the first classification is the Krishna Yajurveda, and the second classification is Shukla Yajurveda. So that is what we call it as Krishna Paksha and Shukla Paksha when you look at all the astrological readings as well. So it's very deep, but I can explain very simply. Initially, whatever was in Yajurveda, you could say that was the Krishna Yajurveda, which basically means the Vedas are very complicated, complex texts. So they will have a shloka, they will have a mantra, they will have the explanation, but it will all be mixed together. So only an expert can tell you what is just a shloka and what is actually the interpretation and all of that. So it's kind of a little difficult, and that is the Krishna Yajurveda. Shukla Yajurveda, somebody went and classified it and organized it better. So they put all the mantras together and then they put all the explanations together and they structured it to be simpler. So that became the Shukla Yajurveda. So they too have their own aspects, but they also have a lot of overlaps. And together, Krishna Yajurveda and Shukla Yajurveda, together that is what is generally known as just Yajurveda. So why I am saying all of this is Upanishads, they are aligned with these different branches. So Krishna Yajurveda will have its own set of Upanishads associated with it. Shukla Yajurveda will have its own set of Upanishads. So Taittiriya Upanishad is aligned more with Krishna Yajurveda. And there one of the very beautiful saying in the Upanishad is Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. Brahma is truth, Brahman is knowledge, Brahman is infinity. And that is aligning with Sri Krishna's declaration because it is emphasizing the same thing, emphasizing omnipresence, omnipotence of the divine. So also there is another Upanishad, Shvetasvatara Upanishad. There is a very beautiful saying there. Tat eva agnihi, tat adityah, tat vayuh, tat u chandramah, tat eva shukram, tat brahma, tat apah, tat prajapatihi. He is fire, he is the sun, he is the wind, he is the moon. He is also the starry firmament, he is the Brahman, he is the waters, and he is Prajapati. So much ecstasy when somebody realizes the self and somebody has God realization. This is how it feels. They come to the true realization. He is everything. So beautiful. Now this mantra is, this particular Upanishad mantra I just told you, one of the reasons I extracted this one for you here is because there is a very key idea that is explained here. The key idea is there are many gods mentioned in the Vedas and everybody thinks, they think, oh, what, you have so many gods in your culture. That is how it appears. But they have not read the next chapter. They have read only the first chapter that talks about there is a Vayu, there is a Varuna, there is a Indra, there is a this and there is a that. But they didn't go to the next chapter where it says they're all the same. Where it says that he is only the sun, he is only the fire. So Varuna, that is also Brahman, Vayu is also Brahman, but they have not gone there and they have kind of ignored it. And so that is our philosophy has been like that forever. So additionally, one more beautiful thing that you have to observe in our Vedas is that many of the mantras, when they talk about the Brahman, they will use masculine words also, and they will also use neutral words. For example, they will call Brahman as that. In some slokas, they will call Brahman as it. It is not disrespectful. It is acknowledging that Brahman is Nirguna also. And when you say Nirguna, there is no male, female, no gender identification. So it's very, very deep. It's very, very profound. So if you can understand all of this and then look at those slokas, and then when you look at these Upanishads, they will reveal a different meaning to you. And that is my attempt here to point you all in that direction, to give you all that kind of a context. So next time somebody gives you an Upanishad or you just randomly go and read an Upanishad sloka and the sloka will just say something like, that is Brahman, that one statement, if you have this context, it will make a lot more meaning, a lot more sense, where you will be able to discover the profoundness within that. Okay, that is why they say that most of our scriptures, you call them confidential. They are not hidden. They are confidential. So the text is available. So anybody can go Google and say, show me Shvetasvatara Upanishad 4.2 and it will tell you the same thing. Tat eva agniha, tat aditya, tat vayu. Okay, then. But what do you get out of it? That is the confidential part which a teacher comes and explains. They give you the context, they give you the right way to understand those things. And that is what Krishna is doing here in the Bhagavad Gita. Is those 700 shlokas, if you just go through them chapter by chapter, they will really not make much sense. But Krishna's guidance is making Arjuna derive essence out of that whole Bhagavad Gita. And that is the whole idea that somebody like me is trying to do as well, is simplify the whole thing and give you the right context. There is one more beautiful verse in the same Shvetasvatara Upanishad, the next sloka. So the one I read was 4.2, and if you look at 4.3, very beautiful. It says, Tvam stri, tvam pumanasi, tvam kumara, utava kumari, tvam jirno dandena vanchasi, tvam jato bhavasi, vishvato mukaha. You are both a woman and a man. This is for all those feminists who get upset when we call God as He. Okay, where we are clearly said, you are both a woman and a man. You are both young as well as youthful. You encompass being young as well as the young person. You represent the old man who walks with a staff for support, and so on and so forth. And they also say, and you are also representing the one with multiple faces that look in every direction. So, when people have God realization, this is why they say that those who have realized cannot explain. And those who explain have not realized. So they try, they make an attempt, but it can never be, it is like asking a woman, how can you explain the joy of childbirth? They can't. That is what every woman says. So the God realization is like that. So, regardless of how people portray, if you read our Upanishads and our Vedas and our scriptures, you will see that God, we are not really limiting to any one gender. We don't limit God. For us, God is limitless. God is man also, God is woman also, God is beyond gender also. So in simpler terms, the verse is emphasizing that the divine is beyond gender, divine is beyond age, it is not young, it is not old. You cannot look at a divine as just a woman or a man or a young or old or this kind of he has to have a bird or he has to have white skin or he has to have blue eyes. You cannot really limit God that way. That is the whole concept here. So also in Srimad Bhagavatam, it is further saying the same thing. It is saying that the learned transcendentalists who know the absolute truth, they call this as Brahman, Paramatman and Bhagavan. In one of the previous chapters, Sulataji did the revision and she explained the various aspects of Brahman, Paramatman and Bhagavan. Please go revise that. Very beautiful concept. So after saying all of this, Krishna goes further now. He gets more in depth now. So in the next following sloka, Krishna says many things. I have tried to note it down. So let us see how many we are able to cover. He says, I am the father of the whole universe. Pitaham asya jagato. When he says I am the father, again, we shouldn't go into the why not mother aspect, but when he says I am the father, what he's actually saying is, I am the source from which all life derives. That is what we saw in the beginning of the 9th chapter, where we spoke about how manifestation happens. And he follows up. Probably Krishna knows how things are going to be in Kali Yuga. So to make sure there are no controversies, he follows up and he says, I am also the mother. I am the maintainer. And I am the forefather also. Mata Data Pitama. I am the object of knowledge. I am the purifier. And Krishna again says, I am the syllabus Om. Syllable Om. Vedyam Pavitram Omkara. So, he is the ultimate truth to be realized. He is the purifier of the soul and Krishna says, I am encapsulated in that Om. So, one very learned Guruji was traveling in Varanasi and there was this very eager student. He really wanted to know God and he had already studied a lot of Vedas, lot of Upanishads, and especially he had studied Yajurveda a lot, and So he knew like dozens of very complex mantras, but he was still not able to realize God. So he was getting all frustrated. So he goes to this Guruji and he says, "What mantra am I missing, Guruji?" It's like, I have gone through Yajurveda, I have gone through every page. I pretty much have tried all the mantras, but I still don't have God realization. So Guruji says, he understood the problem. The problem was, no, this person is trying to realize God through intellect. You cannot intellectualize God. So the Guruji says, if you are willing to forget all those mantras, then I will give you that one mantra which will help you realize God. And this guy is so excited. Finally, this Guruji knows that secret mantra. He says, yes, I'm willing to forget all the mantras. Tell me which is that one mantra that I'm missing. So Guruji smiles and says, Om. He says, the Tatparya is, Om is enough. If you have the right bhava, if you have the right mindset, Om is enough. And Krishna is also saying, I am Om. I could not find any sloka or any scripture. I personally couldn't find. I have limited knowledge and limited exposure, but within my limited capacity, I could not find any scripture where Krishna has said that I am something complicated. Where Krishna has said that you will have to, do tapasya for many years, or you will have to study too much to know me. Never. I have not found it anywhere. Everywhere Krishna has always said very simple things like I am fire, I am air, I am mother, I am father. What is there not to understand? And when it comes to mantra, Krishna has only said I am Om. So very beautiful. And then of course Krishna says I am Rig, I am Sam, I am Yajur. So he's saying I am all the Vedas. And then Krishna says I am the goal, I am the sustainer, I am the master, and I am the witness. What else do you need? Gatir Bharta Prabhu Shakshi. So goal, sustainer, master, witness. He has covered pretty much all the major perspectives. I am the abode, I am the shelter, and I am the dearest friend. This is very touching. Whenever I read this word, it touches me the most, because he says Nivasa Sharanam Suhrit. That word Suhritam is very important. He said in some other verse also where he's Suhridam Sarva Bhutanam. That is the true nature of God. God is not standing there with a stick to punish us. God is our best friend. We have to approach God that way. And then he says, I am the creation, I am the destruction, and also I am the maintenance. Prabhava Pralayaha Stanam. He declares himself to be the force of creation, dissolution, and preservation, the three primary forces, Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara. So, I am the resting place and the eternal seed. I am the cause of all causes. Nidhanam Bijam Avyayam. I give heat and I cause rain. Tapami Aham Varsham. What that means is he controls nature. Nature is under his control. I withhold and send forth that rain. Nigranami Utrajamicha. I am immortality and liberation. And I am also death. Amrutam Chaiva Mrutyuscha. I am both the spirit and matter. I am both subtle as well as gross. Sad Asattaham Arjuna. So he is very deep. He is saying that pretty much all that is visible and invisible, all that is material and all that is not material, it is all me. So I don't think he has left anything. Can we now point out any one thing and that says, so what is the whole idea? Is again, this is the same idea that Krishna explained in different words previously, where he said, I pervade the entire universe. So what does that mean? I pervade the entire universe. So here he has gone step by step to make us understand more easily. So what all can you think of? You can think of all the Panchabhutas, air, earth, water, fire. He said, I am that. You can think of this energy, you can think of that energy, you can think of so many things, but he's then pointing each one out. Yes, that is also me. Yes, this is also me. You say, okay, are you a man or woman? I'm both man, woman, I'm young, I'm old. So this is another way, beautiful way of leading us to the same conclusion that He is all pervading. He is everywhere, He is in everything. Isn't it beautiful? Okay, now we come to another very deep and at the same time sensitive topic. Topic is, see, the soul is a tiny part of Krishna. By now I hope by now you are all in agreement that we are a microcosm and our soul is a tiny part of Krishna. What that means is we are eternally connected to Krishna, whether you like it or not, whether you believe it or not, doesn't matter. It is like saying, I don't believe in gravity. Doesn't matter. There was a time when religious people said, we don't believe that the earth goes around anybody. Everybody goes around earth. But does it matter what they believe? It doesn't change reality. Just like that, you can stand and say, I don't believe in Krishna. That's okay. But that doesn't matter. The truth is this, that we are a tiny part of Krishna. That is eternal truth. That should be very empowering and encouraging for us. Because you don't have to find Krishna. Krishna is already there. You don't have to work hard to connect with Krishna. The connection is already there. You just have to get rid of those things which don't let you see it or which don't let you acknowledge it. What are those things? Top, pride. That pride is the biggest nuisance. It's a nuisance on the spiritual path, it's a nuisance on the material path because it doesn't really help in any way. Even in the material world, people have said pride goes before a fall. That pride is the biggest nuisance. If we can take care of that one thing, I think many other things will automatically fall in place. But what happens? Because of that pride and ego, we start getting into this illusion of duality, where we think we are special or we think we are not special, we think we are great or we think we don't deserve anything. All of those, they are all two sides of the same coin, but they're all not truth. Because what is the truth? The absolute truth is you are Krishna. You are a part of Krishna. Now, I want to slowly, gradually go into this sensitive topic, which is important in Bhakti Yoga. So, why I am talking about this aspect now, about we being a tiny part and why we are getting into this mode of duality and all of that is because what happens is, because of this Maya, because of this pride and because of this ego, we tend to relate more with the body, which is not real, which is asat, which is temporary. But that is how we relate, correct? I mean, all of us do that. If somebody asks you, who are you? You are going to say, I'm Rajesh, I'm Sujata, I'm Deepa, I'm Suchita, I'm Chitra, or I'm Anika, whatever. The first thought that comes is, I'm this body. If somebody asks you, can you describe, so if somebody is coming to Deepa and they are saying, can you describe Deepa? How will you describe yourself? You will say, I'm 5 feet 8 or whatever, I'm fair, I have long hair, I'm a girl, I'm a woman. Everything is again about the body. Are we able to naturally say that I'm a tiny part of the Supreme? That doesn't come naturally. That has to be coached, that has to be groomed, that has to be practiced. That is the problem. So the problem is, our identification is always with this temporary asat, this body. To the extent that we not only forget that we are part of the divine, we forget there is a divine itself. Many times, even the presence of divine is forgotten. That is the level of Maya we are into. This is the reason why we say that human love is limited. And there's nothing wrong in love. The problem is the object of the love. If the object of the love is temporary, then that love also is going to be temporary, no? That's the problem. Like, you can ask anybody, like, you can ask any of your friends, relatives, almost everybody will say that they have not really experienced true, perfect, unconditional love. That is because why? As I said, our relationships, our love, it is all focused on that which is not real, on that which is temporary. which is going to die someday, and because it is based on something which is not real, it is always based on a need. It's a very deep concept, but it is also simple because it's a fact. If we all introspect, we will all know that every relationship is based on a need. There is some need. And because it is all based on some need, it can never be selfless. It can never be constant. It can never be unconditional. Sometimes some people say, oh, my love is totally selfless because, I don't want anything. It just makes me happy. But even that makes me happy is a need. Will you love somebody if it makes you miserable, feel miserable? How long will that love last? You really want to have a relationship with somebody, but every time you approach them, they make you feel miserable. How long is that going to last? So the point is, we seek happiness, we seek joy when we love somebody or something, right? So even that is a need. So if you go introspecting like that deeper and deeper, you will yourself realize that unconditional love is beyond the realm of the material. It's beyond the realm of this body. That is why we say that we have to cultivate love for the divine, or we have to see the divine in everybody. So if you can see the divine in somebody and then have that love, then your love is not focused or attached to something temporary. Then it is focused to something permanent, and automatically then it can become selfless. That is the whole idea. On a lighter vein, you can see many examples. I find it very funny because we are all, many of us in this group are old enough to have seen people through relationships. So I personally seen a few people who, when I knew them when they were very young, they would say, they love a particular woman and they are like, I cannot live without that woman. But once they start living together, after a few years, they say, I cannot live with this woman. I'm like, that's a big transformation, but how did that journey happen? And it is not just man-woman. I mean, there are so many successful people who disown their kids. There are so many successful kids who disown their parents. There are brothers who are killing their brothers for wealth, for inheritance. It's endless. There is a list of endless examples if you look at it. So that is why I am of the humble opinion that ordinary humans and ordinary human love, it is not selfless, it cannot be selfless. So we have to introspect and be honest about it. And what is the outcome of this introspection? The outcome is not to feel that something is lacking in us. The outcome is not to say that we are not capable of selfless love. The outcome is to make us realize that the object of our love has to change. Because as long as we can't change the object of the love can never be selfless and you can never feel fulfilled. So what can that object be? That is what Krishna has hinted in this previous Shlokas. I am this, I am that, I am that. So he is hinting, excuse me, here, So I am a man also, I am a woman also. So it's nothing wrong in a man loving a woman, but if he can take the hint from Krishna and say that, yes, I love the woman, but this woman is also Krishna. So eventually that love is going towards Krishna, then there is a scope for that becoming truly selfless and not dying away. And as I said, why our love is not selfless? For two reasons. One, the object is temporary. And second, it is based on a need. There is no exception. It doesn't matter, fatherly, motherly, brotherly, you give any tag to the love, it is based on some need. That is why these two things make it not possible to be selfless. But does Krishna need anything? No. He is Sarvaloka Maheshwara. He owns the whole universe. So he doesn't need anything. So if he loves you, it is not based on any need. That is why his love is called Suhridam. That is why he is the Suhridam Sarvabhutana. That is what we need to appreciate the most about Krishna's love for us. And we have to also understand that he has accompanied us for countless lifetimes. Throughout our countless life forms, even in life forms where we had no idea about God, demon, devil, nothing. We have been plants, we have been animals, we have been all of that. None of us in this world has directly dropped into a human being. Like Krishna mentioned earlier, there are 84 million species. So we have all gone through all of that. We have gone through countless lifetimes before we got this human body. And Krishna has been with us through those countless lifetimes. We have to acknowledge that and feel grateful about that. And then this statement, Suhridam Sarvabhutanam, will strike a chord with you. As long as you look at it as Sarvabhutanam means, okay, Krishna is that dog's friend, Krishna is that cat's friend, Krishna is that insect's friend, it won't be that profound of a realization. But once you understand that I have been a dog once, I have been a cat once, I have been an insect once, and Krishna has been my friend then that Suridam Sarvabhutanam has a special meaning that will reveal itself to you. And then you will be able to connect even more strongly with that Krishna. Now, as I said, this whole thing about love and problems with love and limited love and unlimited love and all of that, but if you followed what I was saying, the problem is not love, the problem is the attachment, because the attachment is what says that it has to result in happiness, it has to result in joy, it has to do this, it has to be like this. We have all these strings attached. That is what makes it troublesome. So that is why a lot of saints, sages, including Krishna, have said the problem is attachment. Does it sound familiar? We have discussed this many times in the past. Correct? So once attachment goes away, the scope of our love increases. So here comes another very important lesson. When we attach our mind to any material object or person, can somebody tell me, do you all, what anything is made of? Any person, any object, if I say at a fundamental level, what is it consisting of?
Atom?
Correct. But in yeah?
Matter?
Guna?
Yes. We discussed, we said, there are 3 gunas, sattva, rajas and tamas. Anything, any atom, any molecule, any object, inanimate, animate, anything, they are a permutation and combination of these 3 gunas. That is a fact. So, a very deep aspect of what Krishna is saying is when we attach our mind to any object or person, those gunas that are existing in that object or person will impact us. So in other words, if we are attaching more on something tamasic, our tamas will increase. If we attach more to something rajasic, our rajas will increase. Now we understand another perspective on why satsang is so important. Because when you are in a satsang, you are trying to attach to this sattva aspect. And the very act of attaching to sattva will also impact your sattva. So we are using this mechanism to help us rather than harm us. Vice versa, if you are in the company of kusang, the bad company, then you don't have to actively participate in what they are doing. That's okay. But even you being there, you will be impacted. And if they are engaging in a lot of tamas, your tamas will increase. That is how the universe, that's the law of universe. That is why Krishna says, endeavor to attach your mind to me. Because I am the source of sattva. So attach your mind to the sattva aspect of me, and just by the act of attaching to me, your sattva will automatically improve. Beautiful, correct? And easy. So in the Ramcharitmanas, Lord Rama says, Sabke mamta tag batori, mam pad manahi bandh bari dori. Beautiful. He says, cut all the strings of worldly attachment of your mind. So figure out where all you are too attached. Start cutting all those strings. Pictorically. Okay? Do that. Visualize where all you are attached to, and then start cutting all those strings. What you end up with? You end up with a basket full of strings. Now, what do you do with that basket full of strings? Lord Rama says, make a rope out of that basket full of strings and tie it to my feet. That is the meaning of tying your mind to the yoke of God consciousness. So beautifully he is saying, cut all those strings, collect them together, create a rope out of those strings, and use the rope to tie to my leg. Tie your mind to my leg. So beautiful. So it's basically encouraging us to anchor our mind on the divine. Make devotion your central focus of your life. Because that is how you can overcome the worldly attachments. It is like jumping into a hot water and complaining, it is hot, it is hot, it is hot. Isn't it stupid? I mean, why would you jump in a hot water and then complain it is hot? Of course it is hot. Now, as long as you are inside that hot water, it is going to be hot only. Just like that, we keep engaging in the sansar and keep complaining about, I'm not happy, it is so full of pain, it is this. Of course, that is the definition of sansar. Janam, mrityu, jara, vyadi. And we are attaching to all of that, and then we are complaining why I am not happy, why I am not blissful. So Krishna, Lord Rama, they are all saying the same thing, that attach to me and detach from all these material things. So I think in the second chapter we studied it, correct? I think it was second chapter where we used the term yoke of God consciousness. There are many ways, we also discussed there are many ways to attach our minds to Krishna. So you can, there are names of Krishna, forms of Krishna, virtues of Krishna, pastimes of Krishna. So many different aspects. You choose, like if you are a very poetic person, read Ramcharitmanas or Jnaneshwari or whatever, or if you are an artistic person, visualize all the many different beautiful forms of Krishna, and so on and so forth. If you are a creative person, remember and talk about all the pastimes of Krishna, like how as a baby he could still kick a cart and break the cart, and how everybody was shocked, and how as a baby he could kill Putana, the fierce demoness, and how the village people were shocked and puzzled, like they don't know what's going on. How can a baby kill a demon? And so many different ways for us to engage, keep engaging, and that is how you gradually attach to Krishna. So there are many pastimes of Krishna that you can think of. One of them is Damodara Leela. That is the Leela where things like stealing butter and Yashoda trying to tie him. You know that story? Yashoda Maiya, maine maakan nahi churaya. So, and Yashoda Maiya is trying to tie him. She's trying to try the Lord, and Krishna gets into a mischievous mode. He wants to play with his mother, and the rope always falls short. It's like, it doesn't matter how much rope she brings, she's never able to tie him. Then we have the Govardhan Leela, where Krishna lifted the Govardhan hill with his little finger. I mean, that shows his power, but it also shows his love for his devotees. And then we also have the Ras Leela, where Krishna engaged in the dance of gopis. See, again, the real aspect of the Ras Leela is there were so many gopis, and Krishna multiplied himself in such a way that every gopi felt that Krishna was dancing only with her. It's not possible for us. Now, how many people can we dance with? Even if we can dance with one person properly, that's an achievement, accomplishment. But that is one of the core aspects of the Ras Leela, is he was reciprocating the love of the gopis. The gopis had absolute selfless love, which went beyond anything. And he was reciprocating by making each one of them feel like he was with that person exclusively. Such a loving God. See, on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, when Arjuna was having all this mental diarrhea, Krishna imparted this whole wisdom of Bhagavad Gita. And there Krishna was playing the role of Arjuna's Sarathi and a friend, and Krishna guided him through his doubts. He helped him understand what his duty is and what is the nature of soul, what is supreme and all of that. So these are all things that we can remember. Also, Krishna was the savior of Arjuna's life. Because during the battle, Krishna protected Arjuna many times. And Krishna told Arjuna many times, never be in the mindset of pride. Don't ever get into. So, there are a few such examples in the Mahabharata where when Arjuna tries to tell Krishna that Arjuna thinks he was the mightiest, Krishna gives him many different hints. He tells him, for example, okay, Arjuna, when you hit an arrow, how far did Karna's chariot move? And when Karna hit an arrow, how far did your chariot move? So Krishna tries. No, he doesn't want to scold Arjuna. He doesn't want to bring him down or all of that. Eventually, when the war ended, you remember the story where Krishna tells Arjuna, you get down first. Because usually Sarathis will get down first and guide the passenger to get down. But Krishna says, I will be here, you get down first. Arjuna is not understanding, but Arjuna is obedient and he has full trust in Krishna. So he just obeys Krishna. Whatever Krishna says, he will take it, even if he doesn't agree with it. And finally, when Arjuna is gone, then Krishna gets down from the chariot, and as soon as Krishna gets down, the chariot just bursts into flames. And then Arjuna realizes it was Krishna who was protecting me. Everything that was hitting my chariot, all the astras and everything, it was Krishna. He was protecting me. And as soon as Krishna went out of the picture, the chariot couldn't stand even for a minute. So, these are all the things that we should recollect and reaffirm the whole aspect of Krishna's friendship, his support, his love, all of that. So these are all just a few examples that I am giving you of the many pastimes that you should all try and revisit as often as possible. That will help you strengthen your love for Krishna and your connection with Krishna. And it will help you build a stronger connection. As Lord Rama said, first step, cut all the strings. How many strings? It's going to take a long time because a lot of us have countless strings. We don't even know where all our strings are. So first we have to go and locate all those strings and find where all they are connected and attached and start cutting all of them. And then you will realize you have a really big sack full of strings, and then build a rope out of that and then tie it to God consciousness. So pictorically speaking, that gives you the recipe for how to connect with Krishna and why to connect. I hope this all made sense. Thank you, dear Satsang family, for patiently listening to all of this. Hare Krishna. I will stop talking. So if anybody has any comments, concerns, suggestions, please go ahead. Looks like you're all busy finding your strings and cutting them already. Suchita is, she's already thinking about all the strings. Kahan hai?
So many strings.
Yeah. I think it was a lot to take in today. I hope it made sense though. Is it making sense or is it too much? Would you like me to?
No, it's you're doing amazing. Okay.
Sujata ji wants to say something.
No, we were just discussing, it's very I mean, how practical it is to be not attached to your kids, not attached to the life, or not attached to being in nature, or what the things that gives you pleasure. So when we say we have to cut the strings and we are not being attached to it, so how do we do this better?
See,
Cutting.
Krishna is not saying don't appreciate nature, or he's not saying don't love your children, or do it. All he's saying is don't keep expectations. So for example, let us say you want to go for a hike. You love nature. By all means go for a hike, but you have an expectation. the hike has to be smooth, the climate has to be pleasant, it has to be the perfect temperature, and all of that. And suddenly it starts raining and you feel your day has been ruined. Why? Because the problem is you are attached, you had an expectation, and what was important was that expectation, and that is what is causing you the trouble, because there is somebody else who is enjoying the same rain. Correct? So this is all Krishna is saying. And when it comes to how can I not be attached, for example, love your child, but don't love your child only because you gave birth to your child. Can you love your child because it is a child? That is all Krishna is saying. If you can do that, then you will be able to love any child. So the scope of your love will increase. So the problem is not love, the problem is the attachment. That is all they are saying, that we need to cut. Just like that, you are going and coaching somebody. Does that give you happiness? Sure. There is nothing wrong in coaching people. But are you going there with a list of expectations? Because if you do, that is what is going to make you feel disappointed. That is all Krishna is saying, to cut. He's not saying don't coach. He's not saying don't feel happy about coaching. He's saying, but the expectations that people tend to carry, cut that. That is the attachment. In other words, attachment is all about what should happen when I do something. And all Krishna is saying is focus on you doing something. And don't worry about what should happen when you do something. That is the attachment. Like I care for my brother and tomorrow my brother will care for me. That is attachment.
Yeah.
Don't get into that mode. That is all Krishna is saying. So like that, try and cut all those strings of attachment. I know it's not that easy to just explain and internalize, but yeah, as long as we even get started thinking in that direction, it's going to make all the difference.
Sometimes, no, even though we are practicing it, we feel rejected. No, why like that? So expecting something from our children, no. Even though I'm experienced, I said okay, but one point of time, no, sometime it's still, but in deeply the attachment is inside the heart. I want to practice it. I'm practicing and then following it. But the small word or anything, no, that make us, no, I didn't expect from this like that.
Yes, it's not easy. Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely it's not easy.
I think what I feel when attending satsang, it is like whenever you are in satsang, you feel like so motivated and so inclined. As soon as you are again in the race, after a day or so or 2 days, you start like forgetting things. And when the satsang came and you start revising, I think the satsang should be every day, every evening.
Ekansh, I'm so happy you said this. That is exactly how you are supposed to treat the satsang. This is what I've been trying to tell everybody, but people are treating the satsang more like a Friday night movie, Movie khatam, you forget the theater, So you are supposed to engage, you are supposed to communicate with your other satsang members. That is what a satsang is all about. So thank you for raising this. That is a fact of life, out of sight, out of mind. So the satsang is your tool. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity that such people come together. So if you have a doubt, put it in the group. Or if you want some more assurances, go chat with one of the satsang members. Make it a part of your everyday life. You are talking about satsang, Ekansh. People treat even Krishna and God that way. In the morning, before going to work for 15 minutes, I'm lighting a diya, I'm rotating an incense stick, and then for the remaining 12 hours, out of mind.
Yeah, today in the morning I was thinking the same thing. What happened like 2 days before, I thought like I just missed Hanuman Chalisa. So I thought that I will listen full day, but as soon as I was at work, I just forgot. Then today I was thinking I should add this name into my daily life. I practice it every morning. It is good. But while doing a task, while you're washing dishes, while you're preparing food, while you're driving, you should just chanting it on so that
Yes,
every moment, every minute, it stays in your mind.
totally, totally. And these verses that we covered today, they should prove very helpful, right? Because Krishna
Yes, Guruji.
already gave us that I am Kratu, I am Yagya, I am Swada, I am Aushadam, I am Mantra, I am Agyam, I am Agni. So he is telling you, I am this, I am that, I am that. So if you are dealing with fire, you should see Krishna there,
Yeah.
because you are all the time in front of fire.
When you're on beach, just see Krishna is in the waves. Wow.
Exactly, right?
When wind blowing, you are feeling that wind. Wow.
Krishna said, I am Vayu.
Strength.
Yes.
Yeah.
When you feel hot because of the sun, feel Krishna there, because Krishna said, I am that also. See, that is how he is trying to guide us, like we guide children, because we are his children. He is guiding us that way.
This remembers me that Bharatiya's song, Kakik Siraganili Nandanal.
Yes, yes.
And the thing,
It's a beautiful song in Tamil written by Bharatiya. Bharatiya is one of the poetic, he wrote so many about Krishna in Tamil. And this is the one what I can tell, that he's seeing everything. Even
Lakshmi ji,
in,
why don't you share this in our satsang group? You
yes,
share the poem.
and
as-
then I get and the translation.
yes.
Beautiful.
Share it with the translation, please.
Sure.
and Guruji, it is so profound that we again and again remember that Krishna was with us in every lifetime.
Yes,
In
that is what
every-
we
it
need
is-
to understand.
Yeah, it gives you so much bhava from inside.
Yes,
My mom, my dad, might be they were not with me, but the Krishna was with me when I was a rat.
exactly. That's what I'm saying. See, this is again attachment, Sujata. If you are too attached to being Sujata, and when Krishna says, I am Suhridam Sarva Bhutanam, that Bhutanam doesn't really matter. Because what matters is me. So that statement doesn't feel profound. But if you detach from Sujata, you will be able to appreciate that you were a lot more. This is not the first time that you are here. You have been many different life forms yourself. So then that Sarva Bhutanam will be more profound and impactful, because you are now that Bhutanam also that he is talking about. So it's but again, as I'm saying, there's a lot to digest, but at the very core, if you can take care of pride, because if you cannot take care of pride, none of these teachings, you cannot internalize any of these teachings. They will remain jnana. But if they have to become vijnana, then that barrier, that gate of pride has to be destroyed. There is no other way. And as your humble guide, I'm not saying I am free of pride. I'm also work in progress. But if you permit me, that is one of the things I will try to guide you through, is point you your gates, point you your barriers, so that you can overcome them. Nahi to jindagi bhar we will be in jnana, and that is really pointless. Because we have been discussing so many times, Antakale, and how life is unpredictable, how life is short. We discuss all of that, correct? So you cannot wait for one perfect day when you will internalize these things. That internalization has to be the priority. So that's why first look in the mirror and say, who am I? The day the answer comes naturally, that I am just a tiny part of the Supreme, then you have taken care of your pride. So anyways, thank you, Satsang family. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. See you all in the next Satsang. And Ekansh, I think now it's your responsibility. Be engaged in the Satsang. Satsang is yours. And make others also participate.
Sure,
I,
Guruji.
I want to tell one thing about the Krishna, no, because I don't know whether in the morning my eyes are not good, no, because it's water is coming, I thought. But now also, no, I want to listen because you're telling. But I don't know. Once I started, the water was coming, but during 1.5 hours, slowly it stopped. I don't know the miracle.
Yeah, Krishna said his Aushadam. See,
I
it's
don't know.
worked.
You can see my face also, no? I think it's self energy notice, I don't know. When it came, my face was like this, no? But now, the
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna's
because
magic is working.
it's magic, no? Because no, even I told you 2 minutes, I'll come back, I'll walk with water in my eyes because
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
keeping
yeah,
it
yeah.
on. But while I feel no that lighter, it's all okay. Yeah, it's all that's it.
Thank you for sharing that, Lakshmi ji. It's very inspiring.
Yeah, Bhagavan
Hare
says,
Krishna. Thank you so much, everybody. Satsang
Hare
family. See you
Krishna,
all again in the
Guruji.
next
See
session.
you next time.
Okay.
yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you.
Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.